So we're going to start talking about language families and language branches and some language groups. And we will also be talking about universalizing and ethnic religions and their origin. So language is a system of communication through speech, which is a collection of sounds that a group of people understands to have the same meaning. And literary tradition, is a system of written language, system of written words to communicate language through written symbols or words. So world languages are organized in like 3 categories. We have language families is the largest one, where languages have common ancestry before recorded history. These similarities are very hard to like notice when you know both languages. Very their similarities are very noticed even if you speak both languages. These similarities originated before recorded history, so we don't really know how they came to being. Okay, so and then the second category is language branches. Those are the languages that have that came into that originated in a similar way thousands of years ago. So we can notice some similarities right now between these languages. For example, like French and English have very similar words. English, the English language originated from German and French, a mixture of German and French in the English Isles during the German invasion and the French invasion. So we see many words that are simple. Many words that are simple, like cat and car, they come from German origin, while words that are more complicated, like fiance, for example, words that are very complicated, come from more a French origin. So those differences are noticeable. And language groups are a collection of languages that share a common origin in a very recent past. So we see a tree trunk is used to show these branches. So the width of the branch and how big the leaf is shows how large the language is spoken by people. So the trunk represents the different branches of a family, and then the leaves show the group. The leaves show the languages, and then the branches show the leaves show the languages, yeah, and the branches show the different branches in the family. And we see here on the right, on the left, we see the Sino-Tibetan branch, and the Mandarin, which is a language spoken mostly in China, is the largest language spoken in that branch. And for the Indo-European, we see the largest leaf on the top left is English. We have also German. German is pretty large, is largest spoken too. So there are like over 100 language families. We're only on this course, we only kind of need to focus. Okay, for the tree, it's just a good representation of what we're talking about, but you don't really need to know all these. Like you don't need to know all the branches and all the languages. We're just gonna be talking like in this presentation. We'll talk about the languages that are commonly spoken around the world, and what you need to know is just to identify where they're spoken, where part of the world they're spoken. And same for religions too. You don't really need to know that much details. You just need to know where they're spoken, in what region of the world they're spoken, and even for the different religions too, in what regions of the world they're practiced and how they originated. So yeah, there are over 150 language families, and we're only gonna cover the Indo-European family and the Sino-Tibetan. Do you guys know what the Sino-Tibetan is? Family, where is it mostly practiced? Spoken. Sorry, where is it mostly spoken? So the Sino-Tibetan family is mostly, it's mostly spoken in Asia. In Asia, yeah, Southeast Asia, and East Asia, by China, Japan, Korea. In that region of the world. South Asia, that's right. Lost control, okay. So we're just gonna cover the Indo-European branch and the Sino-Tibetan branch. The Indo-European branch is the largest branch within the. The Indo-European branch is the largest. Sorry, there's a typo here. It's the largest branch, not a family, and it's spoken in Europe, South Asia, and America. We're gonna be focusing a lot on the different. Sorry, it's an Indo-European family, and it is. We're gonna be talking about the different branches within the Indo-European family. I'm very sorry, guys. And then the Sino-Tibetan is it's spoken in Asia and Southeast Asia, and the largest language is Mandarin, which is a language spoken by most China. And then in Mandarin they use logarithms or ideograms where symbols represent words instead of like letters, symbols that represent different words, which is very difficult because you have to make up symbols for every single word in the vocabulary of the language. So other language families, we have Japanese, Korean, and Chinese are not the same. They're not in the same language family. Japanese, they use Chinese logarithms. Half of their alphabet uses Chinese logarithms, but they also use do we have a photonic symbols, which means different letters have different sounds. And then Korean, they have the system called Hangul where letters represent sounds, and even they have a lot of similarities with the Chinese language, but they're not from the same family. And then Afro-Asiatic, it's mostly spoken in Southwest Asia and North Africa. And then Arabic is the largest spoken language in the family, and Arabic is the language of the Muslim Quran and the Hebrew Bible. And then Altaic language family is spoken in East Europe and in Central Asia and former Soviet Union, right? The Soviet Union tried to suppress the people that speak that language, the minorities that speak that language, but after the Soviet Union dissolved, the countries that were formed were able to speak it, many of the countries in Central Asia, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, and Turkmenistan, many of the other countries in Central Asia. Distribution of Indo-European branch. There are Germanic branch. Those are the branches we're going to be focused about the Indo-European branches. The Germanic branch, the Romance branch, and then the Balto-Celtic branch, and the Indo-Iranian branch. And two-thirds of the world speak a language in the Indo-European branch. So it's the largest branch, that language branch. Okay, so the Germanic branch. The Germanic branch is make up the English and the German language, and it originated in Germany, right? And due to German invasion to current day, the English Isles, that language was diffused to the English Isles and to the North Norway and Sweden. So the branch is divided into two groups: the high and the low Germanic group. The low group represents the English Isles, and then the high Germanic group represents the German speakers in the north. The Roman branch. Okay, so so the Roman branch, the Romance branch, it's called the Romance because it is language of the Roman, that they kind of diffused the Roman Empire from Italy all the way to East and South Europe. It's originated from the Latin language, and the languages in the Romance branch include Spanish, Portuguese, French, Italy, and Romanian. We see a lot of South Europe and South Europe speak it, right? So in Italy they speak Italiano. In France French. It's part of the Romance branch. In Spain, Spanish, Portuguese in Portugal, and then in America too. In the Americas, that branch is predominant too because they're Spanish speakers. See, if you guys notice, English is not a Romance language. It's not a Romance language. English is we skipped something. We skipped this, right? Anyway, English is is part of the German branch, not part of the Romance branch. Make sure you guys to know that. That's very important. And then we have the Balto-Celtic branch, which basically all the languages that spoken by countries in East Europe and mostly by East Europe. There are two groups, the East Slavic and Baltic group, which basically those groups speak 80% of them are in 80% of Russians speak that language from the group, and then the West and South Slavic groups, which include the languages of Polish, Slovak, and Czech. And then the other I think the fourth branch, the fourth branch of the Indo-European family is the Indo-Iranian, which is mostly spoken in India and Iran. There are two groups, the Indic, which is the Eastern group, and then the Iranian, which is the West group, because they're located in Iran, that they speak the language, those languages. Are there any questions, guys, about these slides? So they sometimes those. I know those questions, many of you guys question why do we actually learn these stuff? But I think it's important because once we actually know the origin of languages and how they diffused, you actually can understand how ideas spread around, even how languages are made up, why are they connected based on geography and trade and other factors. Many ideas spread through through language. How do people communicate? That's what helps us understand. Okay, so the Romance language, we already went over Romance language, and English is not a Romance language. Make sure guys to know that. I have a question, guys, for you. Since are we done? Yeah, we're done with the language section. What is the most spoken language around the world? It's not Espanol, por favor. It's Mandarin. That's right, it's Mandarin. Mandarin is the largest. It's the largest language spoken by it's the largest language spoken by native speakers, because the Chinese population is so big, right? That's why it's the first language spoken. It's the first language. It's the language that's spoken by. It's the largest language spoken by first speakers. But English, on the other hand, it's the largest language spoken by it's the largest language spoken by second, but by speakers that as a second language. It's mostly spoken by people that learn it, but are not but it's not the first language of many people. But most people learn it. That's how they start speaking it. You have one question. What languages is spoken by the largest number of countries? Largest number of countries? We can count. I have no idea. We can count right now. I mean, I would say, yeah, I would say Spanish. Yeah, in the chat you guys were talking about, yeah. I would say Spanish, yeah, because most of South America speaks Spanish, and as a native, as a first language, yes, I would say Spanish, because most of Central and South America speak Spanish, and they're made up of like 20 plus countries, so that makes sense. Sarah said Spanish is the official language of most countries. Okay, we'll move on. We're done with the language section. Do you guys have any questions about anything we just talked about? It's pretty like straightforward. You just have to know some facts. So the religion classifications. There are two religion classifications. We're starting with the religion factor, guys. So the religion classifications, they're universalizing and ethnic religions. Can you guys? I don't know. I know you guys read some of this stuff, but can you guys tell me what's the difference between universalizing and ethnic religions? Type some answers in the box chat. Let's get some interaction, more interaction. What's the difference between ethnic and universalizing religions? Give me one difference. You don't have to write a whole paragraph. Yes, universalizing seeks converts. That's right. It appeals to everybody, and ethnic just passes down usually. Yeah, that's right. That is right. We have one question. Let's see. How does this come up in the FRQ? I guess talking about the languages, right? Language sections. I honestly do not know, because usually these questions are more gonna show up, I would say, in multiple choice, but I honestly don't know, because they won't usually ask you to like they're not gonna ask you, oh, like identify what like language is spoken in India. Like they're not gonna do that. It's more of like analysis, and they want you to use your knowledge to answer the question. So I'm pretty sure they're not gonna ask you a straightforward question like that, but it's important to know these, because to connect it to culture and differences and like a lot of stuff. Like if you know the it's connected to a lot of stuff. So if you know like two countries that have, like, for example, Japan and China, right? If you're talking about interactions and cultural clashing between the two regions, you can talk about how the Japan is kind of have similarities from the Mandarin language, right? Because of the geographical location. It's important to know, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to ask a straightforward question from the information we're just talking about. I have no idea. I'm making an assumption. So yeah. So religion. Those are like one of my best favorite units. I don't know, because I think it's interesting. It's interesting talking about language and religion, because I think they're practical like things. Like we see these in our daily lives. That's why I don't know. But yeah, that's just me. So religion is classified into universalizing religion and ethnic religion. Like many of you guys said, universalizing religions are appeal to everybody, right? While universalizing religion, you have to be born into the religion to be part of it. And we have, for the universalized religion, obviously they're the largest practiced religions, and we have Christianity on the top, and then Islam is the second largest language practice. We have Buddhism and Sikhism from the universalizing religions, and then we have Hinduism, Chinese traditional religions, and Asian primal indigenous religions as part of ethnic religions. And then we have also like 60% of the world like are atheists or agnostics. Do you guys know what atheist and agnosticism is? Type something in the chat box. Yeah, so atheist denies the existence of God, and agnostics. What's the difference between agnostics and atheists? Anybody knows? Yeah, that's right. So agnostics basically say we can't see God, therefore we can't really prove if he exists or not. So I don't know. That's it. Okay, so there are branches within Christianity. There are three main, like, largest branches in Christianity: Roman Catholicism, Protestants, and then Roman Catholics. Roman Orthodox, sorry. So Roman Catholics, they have the Pope as the head of the church, and then they believe in the Bible as authority, and they also believe in seven sacraments. Eucharist. I don't know them honestly. I'm not Catholic, but yeah. And then Protestants. Protestantism was founded by Martin Luther in the 1400s, and he posted like 95 theses on the wall of the Catholic Church in Germany. And then basically, they don't believe in sacraments. Protestants don't believe in any sacraments. They just believe as the true Christians should have a relationship with God. And then Orthodox, they accept the seven sacraments of the Catholic Church, but they kind of deny some of the teachings of the Catholic Church. Honestly, I'm being very honest. I don't think you need to know that for the like you don't really. I don't think you need to know the differences between them, like the different differences in the doctrines. But I would say you have to know where each branch is located. On the where each branch is practiced around the world. So I think this helps us, because look, if there's Protestants, right, it was found in Germany, right? Remember Martin Luther. So obviously Germany has to be Protestant right now, because it's kind of, well, it doesn't have to, but it is, because a lot of time the founding place of a religion is where the religion is mostly like strong, right? What is it called? The founding place of the I forgot the vocab word. What is the vocab word we use for the origin of a place, of an idea? Yeah, the hearth. Sorry, thank you, Sarah. The hearth. Okay, sorry for that. So we also have a group, Mormons. They regard their church as a separate branch of Christianity, but many Christians, on the other hand, they kind of don't accept Mormons because of the differences in their doctrines, the like fundamental differences in the doctrines about like in Christianity and the way they practice their religion. Yeah, and then show the religions, but we're gonna basically distribute these branches on the map, right? I'm really sorry, I couldn't find a good map on the internet to show the distribution of these Christian branches. So basically, I'm gonna like, should we do like, what should we do? What do you guys want to do? Should we do like Should we do questions of different branches? Like we'll talk about like Catholicism, Protestantism, and then Orthodox. Okay, this is kind of fun. Okay, so we'll talk about. We'll do the hard ones first, I think. I mean, they're not that hard. They're all easy, I hope. We'll do Orthodox. Where is Christian Orthodox mostly practiced on the world's map? Eastern Europe. Yep, Eastern Europe. And I would say maybe a little bit of Central. No, Eastern Europe. Central Europe is. I don't know. I would say mostly in Eastern Europe. That's right, Sarah. Let's talk about Protestantism. Where is Protestantism mostly practiced on the map? Protestantism. It's more than one place. The U.S. Yep, that's right. The U.S. and somewhere else. Australia. Yep, somewhere else. Okay, so it's right. U.S., Australia, right? They're Protestants too. Canada, I would say so too. But I think like an important one is Central Europe. Not Central Europe. Yeah, Central Europe. No. Central Europe, yes, Central Europe and Southwest, a little bit of Southwest Asia. Not Spain and Portugal, obviously, because they're Catholic. They're Spanish speakers. They're Catholic. But like in France and Germany, yes, there are Protestants. Okay, and the last one is what? We have Roman Catholic. Where's Catholicism practiced on the globe? This is an easy one. It's like a given. Because what's Latin America? Yep. Western Europe and South America. Western Europe, a little bit. I would say Southwest Europe, not Western Europe. Italy, yeah, a little bit of East Europe too. I mean South Europe. Sorry, South Europe. And there are some Protestants too in Africa. We see there Christianity is, I think, the fastest growing. Protestantism, specifically, is the fastest growing religion in Africa currently. So that's interesting. There are a lot of like traditional and ethnic religions in Africa, but Protestantism is growing in that region. And then we have ethnic religions. We're gonna be talking about Hinduism, primal indigenous languages. Did I say languages? Primal indigenous religions and African traditions. So we have Hinduism. Hinduism is mostly practiced in India. And the way, like, the different branches are based on the gods the people dedicate themselves to. So yeah, so basically the people like worship a specific god, and based on what god they worship, that's their branch. That's their branch. The name of the god they worship is the name of their branch. That's how it is. Yeah. And then primal indigenous are found religions are found in Southwest Asia, and they believe that like God dwells in everything. So I would suppose that because they believe in creation, right? So they believe that because God created everything, then God dwells in all things. And then we have the African traditions, and they believe in a hierarchy of divinities, which like they believe in multiple gods, but they have like a supreme god, but they have a multiple god. They don't believe, like, it's not monotheistic language. And then they believe that objects have spirits. So everything that, like, this bottle will have a spirit. Like everything that exists has some kind of life in it. And then we talk about Islam. Why do we talk about ethnic and then we go back to universalizing? Okay, so Islam, where is Islam predominant? Where is Islam mostly spoken? In what region of the world? See, this is what you guys need to know. What region of the world that language is spoken and that religion. Why am I saying spoken again? I'm so sorry, guys. Where is Islam's practice on the world, on the globe? Middle East, yeah, it's the Middle East. The largest language in the Middle East is Islam, but we have Indonesia. Indonesia is the largest Muslim country in the world. It has like 12% of Muslim followers. So it's not in the Middle East. Pakistan, Indonesia, India, and Bangladesh are not located in the Middle East, but they're Muslim speakers. They're Muslim speakers. They're Muslim followers. They're Muslims. So make sure to know that. That's kind of important too. And then we have the branches. There are like two largest branches within. The largest two are Sunnis, and then the Shia. The Sunnis is the largest branch, and then we have the Shias, which is the smaller branch, and they're clustered in Iran, Pakistan, and Iraq. And there are a lot of tensions between these two branches, and honestly, a lot of the fundamental cause of all of the tensions in the Middle East because of these ideological differences within their religion. I know many people there don't like to like accept that, but honestly, that's one of the fundamental reasons why there is a lot of tension in that region of the world, if that makes sense. And then Islam has 5 pillars. They're Shahada, Salat, Zakat, Sawam, and Hajj. So Shahada is basically like believing there's only one God that exists. Salat is basically you have to like You have you have to pray 5 days a week, five five 5 days a week, 5 times a day. I'm very sorry, guys. I don't know where my mind is going. 5 days, 5 times a day, and then the God is basically giving back, giving back. Swam is to fast in Ramadan, and then Hajj is the pilgrimage they have to take. They have to take once in their whole lifetime. And then Buddhism. Buddhism is what's Buddhism? Do you guys know? Is it an ethnic or universalizing religion? You guys know? Is Buddhism an ethnic or universalizing religion? Yep, universalizing religion because it appeals to everybody. So Buddhism is mostly practiced in East Asia, um, and South Asia. So it is practiced in China. It's practiced in India. Yes, it's practiced in India. So why it's universal? I think because it kind of appeals to everybody. So a person can be a Buddhist and they also can be practicing another religion, which is kind of interesting. And it was found by Guat Guatama. Yeah, he was basically like a prince. Like he was a very rich guy, but he kind of wanted to leave all his like rich and like lifestyle, and he went to the like forest and he lived there for a couple of years, and then he came up with the beliefs of Buddhism. And they believe that all humans must suffer. Sorry, guys, there's a typo there. They believe that all humans must suffer, and reincarnation is a result of the suffering, and how good your life is in the world, like will be reflected on what kind of animal you'll be incarnated into. And then another very interesting ethnic very interesting universalizing religion is Baha'i, which is mostly practiced in Africa and Asia. And basically, this is the sign. This is the sign, the star of the religion. And basically, they believe in the essential growth of all religions. They basically mean that you can like they unite all religions to like prevent any like tensions between these religions. They believe in peace and the uniting of people based on faith, based on their faith, which is interesting and very different, right? Very, very, very different than other religions. Usually, okay, this doesn't really apply, but usually universalizing religion have a specific founder, while ethnic religions don't really have a known, like they don't really know where they originated. Well, most ethnic religions don't know how they originated. But Judaism is an exception because Judaism obviously originated by Abraham in Israel. So this is an exception, but most other ethnic religions do not know a specific founder and or a hearth. So Judaism. So Christianity and Islam gets their root from Judaism because Judaism is the first monotheistic language, and it was founded by Abraham, who was living in Iraq, and he migrated to Israel. And then 2,000 years after Abraham, Jesus was born, and the teachings of Jesus are, I mean, like the Christian teaching is like built based on the fundamental teachings of Judaism. I mean, obviously there are like big differences, obviously between the two religions, but just the fundamental like teachings, even like the teachings, and like the Ten Commandments, for example, are both are like accepted by both faiths. And then and 5,000 years after Jesus, Muhammad was born, and and Abraham still believes in Jesus and he still believes in Judaism. But there are fundamental differences between the two religions, but they still like accept those whatever they take them. Like this like Muslims still accept Jesus and Abraham. But the way it is, Abraham had two sons, Isaac and I don't remember the other name. Isaac, basically Christians came from Isaac, descendants of Isaac, and then Muslims came from the descendants of what's his name? The other son's name? Ishmael. Yes, thank you, Ishmael. Yeah. And Ishmael was a son of Abraham's servant, and then Isaac was the son of Sarah, son of like of Abraham's wife Sarah, and basically that's how like Christians and Muslims, I guess, came into. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So thank you for that. Good to know. Does anybody? I'm very interested. I don't know if anybody in here is Jewish, but does anybody know this? Like the meaning behind the star symbol in Judaism? I'm really interested. I honestly don't know. I should have Googled it. It's. I think it. I should look it up. Sorry. Not relevant. Oh, we're done. I was kind of short. Do you guys have any questions about anything about religion? Even if things we have not covered, we can review for a little bit if you guys want. Any questions you guys have? Kind of like covering a lot of the models like touch on the different like units, so we're kind of gonna be like touching on everything kind of, because like the models are kind of part, like you have to understand the unit to be able to understand the models, so we kind of be like touching on everything else, I think. Yeah. And don't forget to follow Fiveable at Think Fiveable on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So have a great night and stay safe, guys. Stay home. You guys can go outside and walk for a bit, but stay home, stay safe. Keep your social distancing, and have a great day. See you next week. Bye.